This series is sponsored. That's right, sponsored by the Bernie Bums podcast presented by Cream City Central. If you want to find the podcast, the link is in the description below.
We're here with another Spring Camp Extra. We're talking with now new cornerback Ryan Givens. Ryan, talk a little bit about how your progression's gone from being a running back last year to now working at defensive back.
It's a little bit of a learning curve, but Coach E got us out here working hard. Coach Connor out here working hard. Everything's starting to come together real quick now.
If you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel to stay updated within the new series, Gems for Upcoming Athletes. What's good, Coach Givens, man? I appreciate you for tuning in and being the first athlete on Gems for Upcoming Athletes, man. How's it going? How's your quarantine life?
Man, just trying to take it day by day right now, man. How you living?
Man, I know that's true. It looks like you got a cut. I'm over here struggling.
You know what I'm saying? The Walmart special doesn't
You think so?
So.
The Walmart specials. All right, man. So you pretty much know how it's going to go. I'm going to ask you a few questions, and I just want you to answer as honest as possible. My new series, Gems for Upcoming Athletes, is a way to expand knowledge and get those resources out to upcoming athletes so they can have longevity within their careers. With that being said, the first question is, who are you? And give us a little background about yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Ryan Givens. I went to Milwaukee Riverside here for all 4 of my years here. Got a full-ride scholarship to Illinois State. Went there for 3 years, played football there. Ended up transferring to Whitewater, played there for 3 years as well. So I was one of those weird dudes that ended up having a 6 years for athletic play and for medical reasons as well. I spent 4 years right after I got done playing as a defensive backs coach, specifically worked with the corners, and then running backs coach for 2 years as well for Whitewater as well. During my coaching experience, I ended up having 2 All-Americans, 3 All-Conference players. During my playing experience, I got 2 national championships, and I believe it's 3 conference championships as well. So do like to think that, I had a little bit of success, that I've had in the football world.
See, I know that's true. I know that when I did my research on you, man, I read an article. Your nickname in high school was Lightning. Anything look different about this interview?
Yeah, it looked like me on
So that's dope, man. So your sport was football. You just told us that, you played Division I and you also played D3. So before we touch on about that, we're going to talk about our second question, which is your high school journey. I know you mentioned it, but dive a little deeper and tell us about any politics involved, your overall experience. And if anything, was it hard being a black athlete while in high school?
So my high school experience was kind of unique, I think, in a way. I was one of those few athletes that was kind of blessed in a sense to, I guess, have the talent enough to be wanted by colleges and all that stuff. So I think that one of the common misconceptions about college recruiting, I think, is everyone wants to go somewhere. Everyone wants to go somewhere big. It's the reality factor of, you might be a nice football player, but there's also a dude down in Alabama that's like 6'5", 245 pounds that do the same thing, but he runs like a 4.3.
Bruh.
You know what I mean? Like, there's so many different variables that I think that go into play that I don't think a lot of high school kids are mature enough to, I think, really grasp and understand. So I think that's a pretty big thing there. But I was one of those few people that was, I want to say, highly sought after, not highly sought after, but most kind of sought after coming out of high school. So my
Especially out
experience,
of Milwaukee.
yeah, I mean, especially back in, I don't want to sound like a dinosaur or nothing like that, but like, especially back in 2009, like huddle wasn't really a thing. Like it was created like in 2006, I believe it was, but like that was like a big time college football like software. Like everyone has a huddle account now. That was not even remotely close to being a thing back when I was in high school graduating. You know what I mean? So like recruitment was different. So like a lot of time that high school coaches put into recruiting. I mean, it's hard when you have to actually hand mail all of, 72 different CDs. A lot of time that goes into it, you know what I mean? So I think that's kind of one of the big politics things that goes into it. Honestly, I didn't feel much of a stigma or anything like that, like being a black athlete, especially being here in Milwaukee, which is a pretty densely multicultural city itself, you know what I mean? So it was, I would say my high school experience was pretty cool with that, especially because I had the talent to kind of back myself up. So
that's real. I appreciate you for touching on that. And let's go on to our next question, which is your college journey, seeking the NFL. I know you talked about it earlier as far as going D1 to D3. You could tell us a little bit more about that, and again, tell us about the politics, the race, and the overall experience. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I think college and high school is definitely a completely different world. That's why a lot of people say that high school's football is the most fun that they've ever had. Like it's true. It's because there's a lot less rules and a lot less things going on just at all times of the day. My college experience was pretty good. I had the blessing to actually play for two really good head coaches. Two really good head coaches. I had a different position coach every year. I played for 6 seasons at 2 different schools. You know what I mean? So have a different position coach each year is hard. It's difficult because you don't really get a chance to continue a rapport with someone. So you can build a trust with someone from year to year. You know what I mean? The whole nine is kind of like you're starting over from the ground zero at each and every block. But it's definitely different because college coaches have to make decisions based on playing time, but also based on like the future of the program and all that stuff too. So that was one of the few things that I can find as far as a politic from college. I was definitely. I wouldn't say I was a victim of that, but I would definitely say that I put myself in that realm of my last couple of years playing, making that decision. I also was a benefactor of that decision as well while I was at Illinois State too. So it's it's definitely weird, but it definitely makes you have to think about that every day and make you have to work for everything you get. So that's real. What I was gonna say is, tell us a little bit more about your D1 experience compared to your D3 experience, because a lot of the stigma behind it's like, man, if you go D3, you ain't got no skills and you're not this, you're not that. Tell the audience that's watching that does it matter going D3 or D1? So I'm gonna give you the answer from 2 different perspectives here, and they're kind of gonna say the same thing, but in a completely different manner. All right, so going to Whitewater at D3 level isn't necessarily going to. I'm not going to say another college, because I wouldn't do that to anybody else, especially since I'm a former college football coach myself. But going to Whitewater, playing D3 football at Whitewater is a little bit different than going to go play D3 football somewhere in Delaware. You know what I mean? So, it's often kind of called the mecca of D3 sports here in Wisconsin, Whitewater in particular, and it's really true because there are D3 athletes that can start for Division I schools, FCS, FBS, doesn't matter. You know what I mean? There are actually a lot of people that transferred from FCS schools down to Division III schools, for a litmus of different reasons. I myself being one of them, you know what I mean? So it's not just something to not throw dirt on a different division. You know what I'm saying? Just say, oh, they're D3, they're low, they're beneath me, whatever, blah, blah, blah. It really is about the school that you go to, the situation that you're going to put yourself in, the football teams you're going to be playing against, and the opportunities that you're going to give yourself from going to those schools. So if, I like to say it all the time, like if you're looking at a school and you're going there just to say, hey, I got the jersey on, you know what I mean? Like, cool, like, sweet, bro. Like, is that what you really want to get out of your football experience? You know what I mean? Like, that's not what I did. I went to Illinois State, one, because they allowed me to play the position that I wanted to play, but two, it was a full ride too. But those two things kind of made a big factor in the decision for me. And I'm glad I did it. But it kind of has its different rocky roads every now and then. You know what I mean? So.
And that's so real. That's so real. And also, I want you to touch on the fact that like you were a D1 and D3 athlete. Talk about the scheduling that goes behind that. Like waking up from morning practices to workouts to classes, school, and then practice again, and then try to have a social life. Like how can you drop gems on the upcoming athletes about like how to manage all of that? Because myself, I'm a former D3 athlete, and I can tell you it was hard for me, but you were my coach as well. So it's like I have my story, but from you being a D1 and D3 athlete, like tell us a little bit about that, like the scheduling aspect.
So it's definitely different from D1 to D3. D1 is
flashback. He had a flashback.
D1 is a completely, like I said, it's a completely different world, it's a completely different mindset. Being a D1, you have to go to study sessions, not just like, oh, I'm going to go do my homework. You have people there that are like scheduled to like help you out with, organization, whatever you need help with such and such subject. They're there to help you out. But like you have mandatory times where you have to be here. This is where you're able to use the bathroom right here.
Oh my God!
Then right afterwards, you got to do something. You know what I mean? Like Division 1 is completely structured. It's a whole different animal, and that's from like I want to say when does school start? June until the very beginning of May. Like you get kind of like the end of May, you're just kind of like you're trying to kick it, and then right back at it because you have to go to summer school. Division 3 is completely different. Like once you're in your season, like everyone's in their season. All season training kind of is what it is, but it's not the worst in the world because you actually have some freedoms to do some different things. It is still the 6 a.m. wake ups to still go do your workouts, all that stuff. Go to class at 8 o'clock till like 1 a.m. or till like 1 p.m. Sorry. Practice and meetings from like 2 o'clock to 6, and then afterwards, gotta get yourself something to eat real quick before you get your homework done. You know what I mean? So like it's still long days, but like Division 1 is completely
it's just a different ball game.
It ain't the same, man.
Hey, we appreciate you. Hey, we appreciate that knowledge, man. That's a gem. For all those that's watching, that was definitely a gem. Because like I said, from my D3 experience, man, I thought that was hard. But I know it's a lot of athletes that want to go D1. It's not for everybody, but hey, you can do it. We support it. It's not for everybody, but hey, you can do it. We support it. All right, so going on to the next question. So what's next, man? I know you're a trainer. I know you just got your master's, but a lot of other people that's watching don't know that. So please tell us what's next. And before you answer, let me say this. His information will be below. Like, it will be below. So, like, do not hesitate to follow him on Instagram, pick his brand and things of that sort. So go ahead, Coach.
Yeah, so like I said, got my undergrad from Whitewater in 2015 with a human health performance undergrad and a recreation minor. I got my master's in 2017 with the athletic administration focus there. My goal right now is, like I said, like you just said, I'm doing personal training here in Milwaukee. Been about a year now since I'm doing it. My goal is to eventually open up my own studio. I want to train athletes specifically, but obviously, I also will continue doing personal training with anyone, any walks of shape or world of life. But athletics is my thing. So training athletes moving forward is kind of what I want to get doing.
So let me ask you this then, because a lot of former D1 athletes and former D3 athletes, they think the goal is, man, if I don't get to the NFL, like I don't know what to do. So can you tell us a little bit how education was key for you as like a backup? Because a lot of athletes, believe it or not, don't have a backup. It's either league or, man, I'm gonna try to go play in somewhat, like just continue focusing that sports realm rather than trying to pick up on the education.
So football coach is talking to you right now. I think 7% of college or high school athletes end up going to go play college sports within their for 1 year. Only about 2% of those athletes, 2% of the 7% end up getting scholarships. Okay, of the 2% of the 7%, I think it's I believe it what's the percentage? 2% of that percentage actually ends up going pro. All right, so it's a very minimal number of people that end up going to the league. About that many people end up going to the league, while there are that many people that are trying to make it there. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's a very diluted pool. And like I said before, there are a lot of people out there that are extremely talented. So if you're putting every single egg you have into sports, I'm not saying that you shouldn't, but you have to have something to be able to fall back on. It's like why people always say education is key.
Yes, sir.
I myself, I didn't have a chance to go pro because my last play of my year, of my career, I ended up tearing my ACL. Wanting to go to the league, couldn't do it. You know what I mean? So you got to be able to have some type of plan to fall back on because people in the league say all the time, like, it's only from like 20 to like 30. What are you going to do with the rest of your life? If you have no clue, no plan how to live the rest of your life, it's going to be very long, I'll tell you that.
It's going to be very long. That's facts, man. Appreciate you for touching on that. So this is a good question that I'm about to ask you next. It's one of my favorite questions. It's, if you had a chance to go back to your past self, what would you say to yourself?
Take a shot. Don't doubt. Would definitely be
key. That's a gem. Them gems falling. Can you say that again?
No, for sure. Definitely. Take a shot. Don't doubt. And understand that you are in the position where you're at for a reason. God put you where you're at. You worked hard enough to be blessed in the position where you're at. So take advantage of it. Don't doubt yourself. And go get money.
Yeah, I know that's real. Shoot, I know that's real. And then this comes to our last question, man. What's something that you want upcoming athletes to know? Be real. Strictly be real. If you're not gonna be honest, don't even answer the question, boss.
So, football coach was talking again. There are a lot of athletes out there that are supremely talented. Again, I keep hitting on the same things over again. There are a lot of people out there that have so much talent. Like I can't remember the number of how many high school athletes there are, but a good fraction of them are pretty damn good. But again, everyone wants to go to school. Everyone wants to go somewhere to get paid, all that good stuff. But if you don't have the grades, I mean, the hell you want coaches to do? You know what I mean? Like, no one wants a dumb athlete, where you gotta have to jump through bells and hoops and whistles, do all this different stuff just to get you into school, and then have to do all the same different loops, jumps and loops, all that stuff every single week. While you're there, while they have to do their job. You know what I mean? Like there's so many different things that stresses coaches out, and that just makes it completely unnecessary to deal with, right? So understand that you may have supreme talent, but like if you don't have the grades to get in school, if you don't have the grades to maintain yourself in school, are you really worth bringing to that school? If your GPA isn't very good, like I think everyone has different situations, but like if your GPA isn't very good, well, what are you telling college coaches? Here's one thing I will tell you that is a supreme gem, okay? And this is something that was never told to me. This is something that I've known from just my background in being in college. All right, so pay attention here. Okay, your last 3 semesters of high school, your last 3 semesters of high school are what really get you in and out of college. All right. They take into account of your maturity over your last 3 semesters. All right. So if you're showing improvement from your spring semester from junior season or from your junior year to your senior year, right, you can start off pretty shitty. But if you're showing that improvement, right, your grades are starting to peak and go up. Now you're showing that you're mature enough, and maybe they can give you a shot to get your ass in school. So take your last 3 semesters as serious as you possibly can. Don't get that senioritis shit. It ain't worth it. All right, especially if your grades are bad enough. Yeah.
Dropping them. He's dropping them for you. And listen, man, there you have it, you all, man. That's some real talk. Like I said, this new series is about straight real talk. If you ain't here for a long time, man, then you might just, don't even watch this episode. But I appreciate you, Coach Givens, man. It's a great pleasure of having you and hosting you to be the first athlete on my upcoming series. Be sure to check out the video, share it if you like. Other than that, man, I appreciate you.